Listen to Physics. My name is Christina, and welcome to another Let's Get Reelz movie review. Today is my segment I like to call What's on Netflix, where I tell you what is on Netflix that maybe you've never heard of, or maybe has a little rating. But for today, I'm actually gonna do a TV show that is actually being really talked about lately and is gaining in popularity. I am reviewing the show called Stranger Things. Stranger Things was really good. It was something very different. It takes place in a small town in Indiana in 1983, and there's this group of boys, they're probably in like middle school, and they're all best friends. They're all playing Dungeons and Dragons one night, and then they have to leave. So the one kid, Will Byers, he goes off down this side street. Something happens and he veers off towards the woods on his bike. He's on his bike, and I think something chases him, and then he gets to his house. His mom and his brother aren't home, and he runs into the shed to go get the shotgun that his mom has, and a monster comes and just takes him away. And then the series is about looking for Will Byers and finding this thing that took him, and it's such an intricate story, and it's so good. Every character is just perfection. Everyone is awesome. I'm not really going to go too much more into the story because I do want you guys to see it, and I don't want to give anything away because it's just that good, and the story is just so excellent. And I think it was something completely different to what's out there on TV today. It's something, like a different kind of kidnapping story, and it's mixed with like monsters and science and all this other like really cool sci-fi stuff, and just like detective work, detective stories. I just loved it from start to finish. I thought it was really great. As I said, the cast was fantastic. Winona Ryder plays Will's mom. I'm not really too much of a fan of Winona Ryder, but seeing her play a mom was actually kind of cool. It was something completely different for her. Obviously she's older now. She's not the one from Heathers from the 80s, and I liked her. I liked her emotional depth that she had. I think she's become a better actress, and it was just kind of weird to see her playing a mother to two like teenage boys, but it was cool. And a part of it, she kind of like starts to go a little bit nuts. Like she knows something about Will, and she goes a little bit crazy around the house, but you come to find that she's right with what she's thinking. And then somebody else, I believe David Arbor, who plays, I think that's his name, he plays Hopper, who is the chief of police, and he is helping to investigate what happened to Will and everything else, and he becomes like really invested. Kids in this show were unbelievable. Like the group of boys that were friends, Will's friends, they were just incredible. Like I can't even, like, I don't even know what to say about them. It's just amazing that they all acted so well, and their acting was so good. It's like you believe that they're all friends looking for their other best friend, and you can feel their emotions, their sadness, the frustration of wanting to find their friend, and going through all this stuff. And then there's this character called 11, simply 11. She's a girl, and she's part of this whole big thing with the story, and she was excellent. She was like, oh my god, I really hope something comes of this girl, because I have a feeling that she could do something later on in her career if she's given a chance. 11 doesn't really speak too much, so a lot of her acting comes through in her facial expressions and her body movements, and she was just awesome. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Is this girl like 27 years old, like hiding out in like a little kid's body or something? Like, she was just that good. She was just that good, and I could not believe it. I was just drawn in by the acting. I mean, the story is so great. The story immediately grabs your attention and is like, here you go, here's this story. and we're gonna suck you in. But the acting is just so good. You're like invested in every single character. You know, you feel their frustration, you feel their sadness, you feel their like desire for the truth. Just everything was, oh god, everything about Stranger Things was so perfect. Another thing I thought was really good and really cool about Stranger Things is that it kind of reminded me of the book Ready Player One. If you don't know what Ready Player One is about, I'll give you a quick thing. It's about this kid who lives in the future, and he lives in like a virtual world, and then there's this video game designer. He designed the Oasis, as this virtual world is called, and everybody lives in now. The designer of the video game dies, and he referenced a lot of 80s things in his video games, and he starts this hunt to gain his fortune and everything. So there's a lot of like 80s references in there, a lot of movie references, music references that I got, and it was the same thing with like Stranger Things. So Stranger Things has nothing to do with video games, but just the idea of like the throwback and the mentioning of songs and movies from the 80s and games and food and all this stuff, that reminded me of Ready Player One, and I really liked it. The opening credits are so cool. It's like you're watching an actual 80s opening title, an opening sequence for a movie, and that was so awesome. And the theme is actually really cool. I like the theme for this. The music in Stranger Things is really good because it's all like throwback 80s stuff, and you know, it's not just like thrown in there like movies today to be like, oh, let's be ironic, let's be cool. No, it's like, obviously this takes place in 1983, so they're playing its like source music. So I cannot stress enough how much you should go and check out Stranger Things if you have Netflix. If you don't, just try and find it somewhere. It is really, really that good, and it is like so worth the hype that if you've heard anything about Stranger Things, just believe everything. If it's good, don't believe any of the bad stuff, because I really couldn't find too much at fault with Stranger Things. This was written and directed by the Duffer Brothers, I believe you pronounce their name that way, and just bow down to you, gentlemen. You guys were great. They were awesome. This is just something that's so different from what's on TV, and it's really, really good. I hope you guys do go check it out. That was my review of Stranger Things. If you guys like this review in any way, please give it a thumbs up. Leave your comments down below, so if you have seen Stranger Things, we can further discuss it. We can talk about anything you want with this show, and music-wise, acting-wise, whatever, in the comments. Also in the comments, please leave any suggestions you may have for what I should watch on Netflix next, or any other kind of movies that are not necessarily on Netflix. And if I pick your movie and I watch it and I review it, I will give you a shout out. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for future What's on Netflix and other Let's Get Reelz movie reviews, because that is what I like to do here. And as always, keep watching movies and stay absolutely fabulous.